It's so interesting you say that too, because, in the dating world, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I've never been pressured to have sex, like as in, like threatened in any way or, but I do always seem to come with this feeling of a bit of pressure. And I don't know if it's self-imposed or if it's on them, but when they're attracted to me, I know it and I know they want to have sex. And so it's always this thing I gotta contend with or like get, and manage with them and their expectations. I mean, it seems like a lot of men are fine with, they would be happy to have sex on the first date. So it's always like up to me to go,
Hmm.
who are you? Let's wait and be managing it. Do you guys?
Yeah.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it's a hormonal thing for men, though. It's a hormonal thing, which is like, it's just a hormonal. Sometimes I feel they can't control it. And I do agree with, yeah, I do agree with Chandra. You're supposed to be the one, to take the reins and just
Charge.
say, it's not going
Take
to
charge.
happen.
Well, it doesn't even have to be easy. It's not going to happen. It's like I'm not feeling comfortable right now. I'm not ready, right? And I tell women, you don't realize how much power you have.
Mhm.
You have a lot of power in relationship. You just have to remember to use it in a way that is respectful, and you get to guide the relationship. You know that saying, "Happy wife, happy life." It is so true because truly, a healthy man wants their partner to be happy. And so it's our job to give them the formula. What is it that makes me happy? We also have to be, I don't know how to say this, he has to have the possibility of being able to make you happy, right? You have to be able to receive things and be happy in your own life. Like we talked about the cake and the icing. You have to have the capacity for happiness, and that giving him the formula he can contribute to you, he actually feels fulfilled when he knows that you're happy because he's hit the bullseye with you. And so, as women, we have a lot of power in relationships. We just need to look at where is our power and where do we abuse it or we don't abuse it.
I've heard someone say, you have to, like, if you give up that power too soon. They were referring to it as goddess power, that if you give it up too soon, then your power can be diminished. And I had a conversation with a man about this once, and he said, do I if we what after we have sex, do you feel like your power is diminished? Is there anything I'm doing to make you feel lesser than or whatever? So I suppose that whether your power is given up too soon or diminished or whatever really has to do with you and your own boundaries. I think there are some women who can have sex on the first date and feel totally within their power. And so, or it's maintaining their power. So I guess that's an individual journey as well.
Well, and I think it's like, what are the stories that you've been fed, both through watching TV, through your family? What are the stories on sexuality? I'll give you a quick example of we inherit conversations from our ancestors. So one woman said to me that a couple of her family members got sick, and she said, just my luck, my mother will be next. And I said, that's an interesting way of saying it. Tell me more about just my luck. And she thought about it and she said, you know what? My grandmother always said the women in this family just can't take a break. And so did my aunt. And I said, so take a moment and just have a look. Is that the truth about your family? And she stopped and she looked and she went, actually, it's not the truth. But what was behind it is that her mother came from Eastern Europe, where there was the ethnic cleansing and the wars. And so she ran away, came to Canada, and she carried the stories of being victimized, where the women in her family couldn't catch a break. It was true then, but she passed it on from generation to generation so that her daughter would say, just my luck. And so we want to start to look at what did we inherit from our parents? What are the stories, depending on what race, what culture, what country? I'm Israeli from background. And so both my parents fought for the liberation of Israel from the British, and they were really proud. And so there's this energy of we will protect whatever it is that we need. And so that's been passed down too. So we want to look at what did our culture, but also what is it that in our family, what did our family say that felt like normal for our family, but may not have been normal for everyone. And it's like women like us can never apply for this kind of job. A woman like me could never ask for a raise. So you just want to get clear on what are the unconscious inherited beliefs that aren't serving you anymore. Really, that's what coaching and therapy is all about, to discover what are you swimming in that's really not supporting you anymore and maybe even toxic right now?
I would love to share with you to provide another example of that, something that I discovered in therapy, which was more related to not feeling like I'm a very ambitious person from a young age. And I just had this inside feeling of nothing ever being enough, right? Like, when am I going to be satisfied? When am I going to, have accomplished enough, be pretty enough, successful enough, a good enough relationship? Like I said, I have this not enough syndrome, and it's like driving me crazy. And my therapist at that time was astute enough to talk about my family background. And we identified that I came from a generation that was on one side that was Depression era, and they lived through a time where they literally did not have not enough resources. Their survival was threatened, and that generationally, subconsciously, that was passed down in terms of feeling this feeling of security and enoughness. So like your example, that not enough thing was this theme that was running, and it affected, and since we're talking about relationship, it was affecting my relationships, it was affecting whether they were good enough, whether I was good enough, and so, yeah, if you're finding yourself with some kind of theme or phrase or something that you're using a lot. The other one my grandma would say was that she wasn't first class, and that I was first class, but she wasn't somehow, like, because I was born into a different time or into the family once I gathered more resources. But, yeah, that stuff can start very, from day one with you. And so it's so ingrained, it's hard to know how it's affecting your life, but that it's actually a block. So reframing that has been super powerful for me.
Hi guys, and thank you for listening to this episode of Beauty and the Beat. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, I'll see you on the next episode. And please tell me if you thought Iris's tips were really helpful, because I'm definitely going to be using them on my next date.